A December Sunday afternoon. Time to take a break from all that Christmas activities for some college basketball from Nashville, Tennessee, as crosstown foes meet in Allen Arena as Lipscomb University plays host to Trevecca University. As you watch the ASUN on ESPN+. Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan Seaman alongside my son, Justin. We'll just go back a few years. It would have been David Lipscomb College, Trevecca College. It would have been a packed McQuitty gym. It would have been a rivalry as big as the Battle of the Boulevard between Lipscomb and Belmont. It would have been Lipscomb and Trevecca. Hey, Lipscomb goes to Division I, and in the last 20 years, that rivalry has gone in a different direction.
Yeah, old rivalries, though, made new again as Lipscomb playing a couple of old rivalries. They had Belmont on Tuesday night. Lipscomb and Belmont both went Division I. But now they get Trevecca, and you're right, it's an old rivalry, but it's a deep rivalry between these two teams. Not only these two teams, but Lipscomb's new head coach, Lenny Acuff, he had a few matchups against Trevecca in his days at Alabama Huntsville.
We got a lot to talk about through the afternoon, but right now let's look at a couple of the players. It's a senior and a freshman that we highlight today.
Yeah, local product first off for Trevecca and Reed Smith. He's a local guy. He prepped at Brentwood High School just down the road. He came to Trevecca via Chapman University at 6'7". He's going to be a good matchup down low with some of Lipscomb's bigs. He's very efficient around the rim, shooting about 58% from the field, but he's also not afraid to stretch the defense. He's got 5 made three-pointers this year. On the other side for Lipscomb, it's all about KJ Johnson, easily the most electric and dynamic scorer on the Bisons. Johnson is in his first time here as a freshman. He's already established himself as the go-to player. He's 4th in the ASUN in scoring at 14.7 a game, and he's first on the team in that category. The biggest challenge defensively against Johnson is trying to keep him in front of you. He can really get to the rim.
Well, we'll take a look at the Ascend Federal Credit Union starting lineups between these two teams as the Bisons and the Trojans get set to face each other here in Allen Arena. First for Lipscomb, it's KJ Johnson, the freshman, Andrew Fleming, a senior, Michael Buckland back against Belmont, his first game back after he was injured in the home game against Belmont, Parker Hazen, a freshman, and then Asan Asajula, the sophomore, and he is a big gun for the Bisons. We'll flip it over and take a look now at the Trojans on the Ascend Federal Credit Union starting lineup. Imani Starling, the junior, Austin Wills, a 6'2 junior, Evan Ragsell, a junior, then their lone senior, Reed Smith, that Justin just told you about, and then Adam Webb, a familiar face, 7'2", a familiar size. He played at Stetson, transferred over to Trevecca.
And he's played 5 times against these Bisons, and I will say this, from watching Adam Webb when he played at Stetson, the 7'2" length has given Lipscomb and especially Asan Asajula some problems. I know Trevecca is hoping to have his size create some problems for the big fella down low from Lipscomb.
Lipscomb has been on the road for 17 days. Trevecca has been at home and played Thursday and Saturday. Got their first win of the season on Thursday. They're playing back-to-back days here in Nashville, and the tip is underway. Sunday afternoon matinee basketball. It's controlled by Lipscomb, and we're underway from the Music City.
Man-to-man defense. This is a pack line type defense as Asajula, quick, easy touch inside. Missed the first, but a follow. He's best in the conference in rebounding. He'll get a rebound there on the putback.
He's 5th best in scoring as he's averaging 14 a game. And you know that one of Lipscomb's big bread and butter plays is to go inside to the big guy. Now we'll see what the Trojans do working inside with it. Now try to come back out to the wing. They'll go down to the big 7'2" kid, and he'll work against Asajula, does a little jump up over him, and the bigs go battling each other down low, and we're tied at 2 apiece.
Well, the key for Adam Webb is not going to be whether he's going to have the size on the defender. It's going to be his touch, and he had nice touch there. He's always going to have the advantage size-wise at that 7'2" body.
Buckland off a give and go, takes it from Asajula, and he'll get it to drop. Buckland got 10 points coming back after being injured in the game against Belmont, which the Bisons lost in the second round of the Battle of the Boulevard, 80-75 their last time out. On a missed shot there by Trevecca.
Yeah, Webb again inside, that time missed on the touch.
Asajula.
Nice little spin move. I like his aggressiveness so far early, but like I said, a tower down low, Adam Webb, if he just stands there with his hands up, it creates problems for the shooters.
Here's Webb. He's not afraid to shoot the 3. He's got the first 2 buckets from the outside. He gives Trevecca an early 5-4 lead.
Talk about a threat when you can have a 7'2" player step out behind the arc and drain one.
And And then we got a travel and a turnover on Hazen, this junior college transfer out of Columbia City, Indiana.
Yeah, hesitated there just a touch when he was trying to see if he had a little lane to drive, and that hesitation got called with the double dribble. So first turnover of the game for Lipscomb. Turnovers could be big. Lipscomb averaging just under 15 a game, but that's been one of the problems for Trevecca.
The back door layup won't go there. Driving it was Ragsdale, and the rebound comes to Asajala. Buckland will push it up to the wing. Then he feeds Asajala down low, who takes it in, uses the flat part of the iron, and Asajala gives Lipscomb a 1-point lead. Out on top 6-5 with 17:47 to go in this first half of play.
Nice quickness by Asajala. He's got the quicks on Adam Webb, so Lipscomb definitely force-feeding him early.
Nice little give into the paint. Shot too hard off the glass. And the rebound out to Lipscomb. Hazen on the drive, stops, gets it off to Asajala, fakes with a handoff, and then takes a couple of dribbles in. Put up about an 18-footer. That's not really his shot.
No, teams are going to be scouting him more and more, and they're going to continue to give him those shots. He's knocked down a couple of threes this year. He's 2 for 9, but just does not look comfortable in those mid-range and deeper threes. I know he can make them, but just the comfort level doesn't look there, so I know teams are going to try to bait him more and more into those type of shots. They'd rather him take those than be right up there against the basket, and now foul as he tried to swipe one away from Adam Webb.
I think if you talk to Coach Acuff, he's going to say, I'd rather him take the shots down low or outside. We'd rather take threes or inside shots. Let's stay away from that mid-range shot.
Yeah, and I think you also talked to Coach Acuff. What he doesn't want to do is to limit somebody offensively, though. He likes to have players feel free flowing offensively, but you got to take smart shots. And I think that's really more what they would talk about is, hey, not never take that shot, but let's be smart about it.
Down to Asajala, back out Hazen with it. Now Fleming wants to work off a screen, does, and it's a slip and a give and a go. Great pass. 3 nice passes there. Sets it up for Asajala to score.
Get the whole thing started by Andrew Fleming. The senior's just been fantastic as of late. He had a career-high 20 points against Belmont the other night on Tuesday night in that loss, but just a great little pick-and-roll action, little slip screen, and then great look by Hazen over to Asajala.
3-point Lipscomb lead out on top of 8-5. 16:15 to go here in this first half. Trevecca drives the baseline. Shot forced around, put up good by Reed Smith. And the Brentwood senior has brought the Trojans back to within 1.
Smith's got good frame there. Another great pass from the bigs. One of the things about Lipscomb is the way their bigs can pass. Asana Asajala and Parker Hazen, both fantastic distributors. Asajala actually leads the team in assists this year. He's got 22 now on the year for Lipscomb. Not often you see your big man leading the team in assists, and this is a team in Lipscomb that's a pretty good team as far as assists go.
Well, at the beginning of the year, as the shot is blocked away, Coach Acuff told us Asajala is going to be play inside, he's going to be rebounding, he's going to be doing a little of everything. We know he can do a lot of pickpocketing and make steals for the team, but now leading the way with assists. Here's Hazen on the drive, spins in the paint, comes out through it, now spins again and turns. Shot is short, but he'll draw the foul. And it'll take us to immediate timeout in Nashville. Lipscomb is leading it by 3 out on top of Trevecca 10-7. Back after this break here in the Music City.
Welcome back here in Al Arena, where the Lipscomb Bisons are facing the Trevecca Trojans. Now, Trevecca head coach Omar Mance is in his 2nd season as head coach for the Trojans, and earlier this week he led his team to their first win of the season, and actually it was their first conference game of the season against Tiffin University. Now, Mance was previously an assistant coach at his alma mater, Rice University, and Lipscomb ASUN opponent, Liberty University, where they were in the Big South Conference. Now, after that win against Tiffin, Mance said every game leading up to this one was preparing us for a game like tonight, and we finally finished it. So tonight they're taking a break from their conference schedule, and they're tuning up some things here against their old rival Lipscomb.
Thank you, Kaylee, as Hazen at the line connects on the free throw, gives Lipscomb an 11-7 lead here. A little full court pressure put on by Trevecca, against Trevecca by the Bisons, that is, as the Trojans come up court.
You talk about that tough schedule for Trevecca. They played one of the toughest pre-conference schedules in all of Division II this year. Only 1 win, but that's because of that tough schedule. 8 of the games the Trojans played against teams from the 2019 Division II National Tournament, including Point Loma, who was runner-up last year, and the number 2 team, Nova Southeastern.
Nice steal there by Reed Smith. He just took it away from Asajala. 11-7 your score. A drive off the glass won't go, and the rebound battled for, and climbing the back, the whistle will be on Justin Hedrick, and the Crossville, Tennessee native will pick up the foul for the Trojans. Well, when you look at a lot of the names of those schools, too, it takes me back to that early history and the rivalry between these teams back in the 70s and 80s, because many of those schools were at one time NAI schools, and they've now moved to Division II, just as Lipscomb made the move, along with Belmont and others, to the Division I ranks of the NCAA. And so a great hard schedule. We're going to get a charging foul on KJ Johnson, as he's going to be whistled for the charge.
KJ Johnson has been fantastic for this Lipscomb team. They've really needed his scoring punch after losing so many great scores from a year ago. The freshman who averaged almost 35 points a game for Marshall County in high school. And this year he has really done a nice job. 6 of 9 games he scored in double figures for Lipscomb to lead the way for the Bisons.
Over on the wing, Hedrick back out top with it. Directing traffic now will be Chris Rogers, as Trevecca made several substitutions. Here's a 3 on the way. This one's going to be good. They hit 10 a game and shoot quite a few each game. And there's one that goes in the book for Austin Wills.
Well, they would be second in the A-Sun in made 3-pointers per game, as they average 10 a game, and Lipscomb will try to answer. They can't there. Greg Jones, nice offensive glass rebound. Looked like he might have been fouled, but there's Asajala inside. What I was going to say, this could become a 3-point versus 2-point game. The Trojans, excellent outside shooters. Lipscomb, that is not their calling card. Lipscomb, most of their points have come on the inside.
Back-to-back threes now by Austin Wills. You can put it in the book for him. Didn't even get a chance to talk about that big behind-the-back pass that Asajala made from down on the baseline, down on the blocks, all the way to the corner to Buckland. And then followed with his tip-in by Asajala. Here's Jones for 3. Just put it in the air. Let's shoot threes on both ends of the floor.
Lipscomb had a stretch where they didn't have Jake Wolf, Greg Jones, and Michael Buckland for about 2 or 3 games. Those are 3 guys that started the year as starter. Greg Jones, Jake Wolf, and Michael Buckland, all 3 coming back against Belmont. Those are big lift to have those kind of veteran guys back out on the court for Lipscomb.
There's a nice tip in. Reed Smith gets it in. It's back to a 1-point game. 16-15. Lipscomb with the lead with 12:48 to play here in this first 20 minutes of basketball. Sajala faked with the back door. Now gives the second man coming through the back door. It'll be Buckland. He'll draw the foul down low by Hedrick.
Nice concept there for Lipscomb. Kind of parallel double backdoor cuts there. Give a lot of options. You know, when you have a passer that's as good as Asajala, Lipscomb runs a lot of this with Asajala in the high post, where he has the ability to have the vision to be able to pass. And like I said, you don't see that very often. It really puts some pressure defensively on you, because you're having to bring probably your best post defender out top, and then those back doors really can leave things wide open.
Well, we talked about the battle between UAH and Trevecca, and Coach Acuff and Coach Mance, and going back through their time that they've faced each other in the Division II a couple of years. But you got to look at what these coaches do. You got the pack line defense from Coach Mance from Princeton. You got a sped up Princeton offense by Lipscomb. So there's a lot of things that, coaching philosophy wise, they're going to pick from each other.
Now, this is a huge mismatch. Lipscomb's having to go, they're going man to man, but they're playing a little more sagging here. Actually, they're playing, man-to-man here, Lipscomb, but this is a big mismatch with Coleman against Adam Webb. You got a 7-2 versus 6-6.
And there's another long 3 that's put up and good. This one by Chris Rogers. And that's 3 big threes by Trevecca. We're tied at 18.
Yeah, and that one was kind of a bailout right there, because late in the shot clock just had to throw one up.
Just inside 12 minutes to play this first half. Playing it tooth and nail, as Buckland will be fouled at the free throw line. He will go to the line to shoot when we come back to Nashville. Under 12 break for the Music City. We're deadlocked between Trevecca and Lipscomb. It's 18 apiece. We'll be back with more when we return.
Welcome back to Allen Arena, where we are all tied up 18-18. Lipscomb head coach Lenny Acuff is in his first season as head coach for the Bisons and has led his team to a 3-6 record so far, and already facing some diversity this season, but some of the underclassmen have really stepped up for this team. Acuff says, "I feel good about where we are. We are making progress and we keep improving. We want to be a good team when we get into conference play, so neither me or the team are used to losing. It's hard, but I promise you, when we get to January, we're going to be a tough out." Jonathan, Justin.
Thank you, Kaylee. Michael Buckland at the line already with 7 points, make it 8 in this ball game. And Lipscomb now with a 2-point lead as Buckland will go to the bench. He missed several games, Belmont to Belmont. Got hurt in the Belmont game here now in Arena. Did not play again until this December 3rd game over at Belmont. And he had 10 points in that game. But Buckland's a key man to get back in this rotation.
Well, he really is, as you see the illegal screen there. And more than just his ability to score, it's the leadership, the senior leadership. He is kind of the guy that makes sure everything runs. I mean, these freshmen, a lot of excitement, but they're still freshmen. And when you have a senior out there who's been through the trenches, played so many Division I games, you know, as a coach, Coach Acuff, I know he feels more comfortable when Buckland's out on the court.
Bisons with several changes. John Matt Merritt, one of the players on the floor. They got a young team out there right now, some young guys on this floor. Here's another three put up by Rogers, in and out, no good. They've hit on 4 threes in this game. Lipscomb's hit on only 1. And nice pass from Miller going down low to Coleman. And Coleman gets the 2, and Lipscomb leads it by 4, 22-18.
Well, you like that transition offense out of a missed shot. You're able to get past the defense there, and great look by Miles Miller.
Tipped into the corner. Now they'll bring it back to the top. Rogers runs the offense. Down to 12 on the shot clock. And we got a hold and a foul down low, and I think it's going to be on Caleb Coleman, the 6'6 freshman out of Orlando, Florida.
He's trying to do his best against Adam Webb, 7'2", trying to front him. They're just trying to buy a little time until Asajala can come back in, and he will.
Reset the shot clock to 20. 10:54 on the game clock as Trevecca will play it in. Wills puts up another 3, and Wills, he's been hot from outside. That's his 3rd three-pointer in this first half.
Well, it came in 26 for 60 on the year from beyond the arc, 43%. Three-point shot is the all-time equalizer. And there's one on the other end for Carson Carey. What a boost has he been for Lipscomb off the bench. Lipscomb has struggled so much from behind the three-point line. They said, okay, well, let's throw in Carson Carey. What's he done? He is 8 for 17 now, over 44% from downtown in the 6 games he's played for Lipscomb.
Put in the book for him, the freshman, walk-on out of Columbia, Tennessee. Outside, Ragsdale passes over now. Here's the hot hand of Wills. Going to put up another 3. This one he missed the mark on it. And the rebound will come down to Lipscomb. We approach the 10-minute mark of this first half. And it's a 4-point Lipscomb lead.
Good job
on the baseline.
Defensively getting a hand there by Carey. Here's Adam Webb. This is where he can create problems.
I think they missed a 3-second call because Asajala spun in that paint. They didn't call it. Bison's got a break. Missed shot. Asajala takes care of the break and gets 2 out of it.
And that's what Coach Omar Mance was working. The officials very upset, and I don't blame him because he was in there for
a long time.
A long time. It was kind of, he was doing a lot of pivoting, and Lipscomb able to get some points out of it.
Webb puts up a 3, and the 7'2" puts it in the book. And Trevecca picking up where they've been shooting the 3 all season long. Now 6 of 10 here in this first half from outside the arc, and they're within 3.
Well, what I tried to tell you earlier is that they would be second in the ASUN behind North Florida in three-pointers made per game. North Florida averages about 13 threes a game, which is top 10 in the NCAA. And Trevecca averages 10 made threes a game. 33 attempts, and right now they're showing you why here in the first half. 6 for 10 are the Trojans, a chance to tie here with a triple on this possession.
8:54 to play in the half. Little drive into the paint, little runner put up, and it's good. We're back to within a 1-point game. The scorer there was Chris Rogers, the St. George of Virginia freshman. 27-26.
1-point game now, 27-26. Lipscomb still with the advantage, but it's back and forth offense.
Here's a 3 by Jones. This one will go in the book also. Greg Jones, the sophomore from Frisco, Texas. And Lipscomb back to a 4-point lead.
If Lipscomb could get Greg Jones going from deep, that would be huge. Lipscomb, if they could just get any semblance of an outside shooting game, you talk about an outside-inside game with Asajala, they are going to be tough to handle.
Nice little mid-range shot put up and good by Trevecca. Evans Ragsdale, the Nashville, Tennessee native, last year's leading scorer for the Trojans, gets the two.
How about these numbers? Lipscomb's shooting 61% from the field. Trevecca shooting 55% from the field right now.
Jones, can he get back-to-back threes? No, this one won't go, and it rolls off the rim into the corner and goes out of play. Well, from media time to media timeout, it's been a fast little up and down pace between these two. Lipscomb will take a 2-point lead as we head to a break from Nashville. Lipscomb 30, Trevecca 28 with 7:50 to play in this first half.
Our associates are experts in designing personalized wealth strategies for individuals, families, and businesses located anywhere in the United States. Take the first step in building your financial success by visiting our website at snawealth.com. Stephen and Associates is a proud sponsor of Lipscomb University and Lipscomb Athletics.
Hard to believe it's already the 8th day of December, home for the holidays. Nice little schedule for Trevecca, as you can see, at a couple of games this past week at home. Alabama, Huntsville, Tiffin, and Ohio Dominican, and then they come here for a Sunday game against Lipscomb. They stay in Nashville, then they'll have Cedarville at home too. So they got quite a few home games down the stretch as the young junior Bisons are enjoying the play on this December Sunday afternoon here in Nashville, here in Allen Arena.
How about this? We talked about the shooting percentages. Both teams are lights out right now offensively. Lipscomb at 58%, Trevecca at 55%. 18 of the 28 points for Trevecca have come via the three-point line. 16 of the 30 points for Lipscomb have come in the paint. So kind of two ways of playing the offensive game. Both have been effective so far.
Now you think about it, Trevecca 6 of 10 from the three-point line, and they are 11 of 20 for the game. So half their shots have been three-point shots. Lipscomb shooting 11 of 19 and then 3 of 7 from inside the arc. There's a block shot and then a recovery by the Bisons, as coming away with it was Jacob Hobbs. Lipscomb with a 2-point lead, 7:15 left to go in this first half.
Let's see if they can get maybe Andrew Fleming working. He had 20 the other night. He doesn't have any here. He's scored double figures in 6 of 9 games for Lipscomb as well.
Good ball movement by the Bisons, and then Asajala just battles inside, but he also has a battle there with Reed Smith, and the Trojans come out on top and have the ball at their end of the floor.
That was Adam Webb, actually, with his big balls down low, got the block, and that's where the 7-2, that length, can bother Asajala.
Webb got the block. Hey, there's another three. I'm telling you, the hot hand of this half is Mr. Wills. He's now 5 of 7 from outside that arc.
31-30 now, Trevecca regaining the lead.
First time they've led in a while. They'd cut it close, but now they've taken a 1-point lead. 6:25 to go. And there's almost a turnover. It is a turnover because stepping out of bounds is Jacob Hobbs. But Austin Wills, the Benton, Illinois junior, here in this game has 12 points. As he had 4 of 6 from outside the arc.
Yeah, I think the surprise, though, is the 2 threes from Adam Webb. He's 2 for 2, the 7-2. I think you think about threes from inside, or from Trevecca. You don't think about the big fella stepping out there and hitting 2 of the 7.
Away from the ball, whistle and a foul against Lipscomb. It's going to be on Parker Hazen, the junior college transfer, leaning onto the back of Adam Webb, the 7'2" Lakeland, Florida native, transferred from Stetson. Now he's going to put up a mid-range jumper. This one doesn't go, and Buckland has the rebound. Lipscomb trailing by 1 with 6:05 to play in the half. KJ Johnson, the leading scorer at 14.7, silenced here in this first half, has not scored, as Buckland, the senior out of High Point, North Carolina, just drives the paint and gets 2.
Not sure how he got that off the backboard before Webb got his hand on it. I mean, Webb was right there, but a heads-up play by Buckland. And you mentioned it, though. I think Lipscomb, they've got to find a way to get KJ Johnson and Andrew Fleming involved. Those are 2 guys averaging double figures for Lipscomb. No points for either of those 2 guys.
Trevecca trying to regain a lead, missed on it. Lipscomb with a 1-point lead, 32-31 will come the other way. The senior Buckland has the ball out top. Now they'll work it down low. Hazen Parker goes in with it, forces a shot off the glass. It won't go, and it's going to be kicked out to the Trojans, and now they've got a chance to regain the lead.
Great job in transition, and Nice job, body control that time by Reed Smith.
Block, and the blocking foul will be on Jacob Hobbs. That'll be his first, team's fifth. Both teams have committed 5 personal fouls. To the line will go Reed Smith, the Nashville native, senior. He's a 90% free throw shooter, almost automatic when he goes to the line. His back end is Tharp and Rogers for the Trojans. Well, this is a battle here through the first 15 minutes of this first half, and we expected this to be a pretty tight battle as Reed Smith gives Trevecca a 33-32 lead. Not like the last couple of times these teams had played because of the switch and the move from Division I and the NAI move. And finally, KJ Johnson with 5:02 to go gets into the scoring book.
Well, really, that's his game, the quickness game, and if he can beat you off the dribble so fast, and then that left-handed layup there, but Lipscomb, can he get him going? And KJ Johnson's a guy who can score in buckets in a hurry. I mean, he's a guy, as you see the offensive foul, but you get KJ Johnson going, better watch out.
Foul was on Wills. I was talking about those previous games back when they played, and it was an exhibition game. Lipscomb had the advantage through those games back in November of 2010. Lipscomb won that exhibition game 106-59 on February the 5th of 2000, back when they played their last game that counted against each other. It was a 110-73 win. But this one here today, Division I, Division II, is a counter for both teams.
Yeah, usually these games are exhibition games for the Division II team, but Trevecca already playing one of those games, so this one counts just the same for both teams. And KJ Johnson getting active on the offensive end. One of the things I want to go back to, though, you said, you know, 34-33, Lipscomb with the 1-point lead. A lot of people just tuning in, maybe kind of wonder, what Division II versus Division I. This is not your typical Division II roster. You look at this roster, both of these teams, Lipscomb and Trevecca, have 4 players that are 6'7" or taller. So when you usually talk about these matchups, it's, oh, the Division I team has the size and can really pound the team down low, and that's where the advantage is. Not so much here. Trevecca can match Lipscomb size-wise, so it's really going to be a battle of who can execute better than the other team.
Lipscomb with a 3-point lead. I think the other thing, too, since this rivalry was so big back in the 80s, and we'll talk more about that coming up later in the broadcast, it was a strong rivalry. Then when it goes away for so long, I think it's Trevecca who has been in this city watching Belmont and Lipscomb at Division I. They've been sitting over there on Murfreesboro Road here in the Music City saying, you know, we're going to get back there as Division II, and we're going to sneak in one day, and they're going to forget that we used to be a big rivalry.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, none of these players really know what we're talking about. We're talking about rivalry because they weren't around, but still, I think you're exactly right. I mean, the buzz in Nashville when it comes to college basketball is Vanderbilt first, Belmont second, probably, and Lipscomb third. That's just the hierarchy right now.
Bucket made there by Asajala, and then the foul. And I'm going to tell you the other thing that you have to think about, too, is Coach Mance has been around a lot. He knows a lot of folks from over there at Trevecca because he played at LSU. Then he ended up finishing at Rice. Around the coaching, he's been to Liberty, part of the A-Sun, assistant coach there. He was an assistant at Vanderbilt under Drew Bryce over there. And then spending some time before he comes here, he goes down and coaches at Rice, his alma mater, and then he ends up at Trevecca. So he's been around a lot of coaches and a lot of players.
When you also talk about it, in his second season as an assistant is Reese Chamberlain, a guy who was at Belmont, who Lipscomb saw 2 times a year for 4 years on some Belmont teams. 4 of those teams for Belmont, they all went to the NCAA tournament. Reese Chamberlain, fantastic player for Belmont as an assistant for Trevecca. So they've got some great things working for them right now. I think they're going to do very well this year.
KJ Johnson misses on the 3 after a nice steal by Greg Jones. 4-point Lipscomb lead, 37-33, inside 4 to play, about 3:50 left to go here in this first half. Yeah, you got a lot of great coaches and players, a lot of them from this Middle Tennessee area, and a lot of things to be learned by a lot of players. And there's a nice little runner that's up by Starling, also out of Nashville, played at Innsworth, played for the former Bison Ricky Bowers, and then went to Linwood University before transferring to Trevecca. So we got a lot of connections here in Middle Tennessee. Turn by Asajala, just can't drop it. And Trevecca with a rebound. And a nice three put up, and the Trojans regain the lead.
That's the 8th made three by Trevecca. They are now 8 for 12 from downtown. They're hitting up there in almost 70% range.
Evan Ragsdale put that one in the book. Sajala, that's going to be an offensive foul. He ducked his shoulder, and it is an offensive foul. And so big threes and then a big foul. It'll take us to the under 4. Trevecca leads it over Lipscomb. The battle here in Nashville on a Sunday afternoon. Trevecca, you'll see the 3 go in the book. And then the foul by Sajala. We take a break for the Music Center. Great shooting percentage here by both of these teams. Trevecca shooting nearly 54%, Lipscomb shooting 52%.
It's pretty nice on the stat sheet when you've made more shots than you've missed. Trevecca has made 14 shots, they've only missed 12. Lipscomb's made 13 shots, they've only missed 12. So both teams in the positive category in that situation, as there's a foul, not a smart foul by KJ Johnson there, just good speed that time by Imani Starling, and that's going to earn a 1-and-1 situation.
Well, Lipscomb is getting their points in the paint, as you'll see the foul there committed by Johnson, outscoring them 20-8 in the paint. But when the other team is 8 of 12 from outside the arc and you're just 3 of 8, here's where the point differential quickly adds up as the free throw is missed by Starling. And Lipscomb with a rebound. Trevecca with a 1-point lead as we come near the 2.5-minute mark here in this first half. Buckland, the senior, working inside. His jump hook was nice but wouldn't go, but what a rebound by Coleman, and now he's going to be fouled. Caleb Coleman, the 6'4" freshman out of Orlando, got a nice-sized body. He's a kid that really needs to start coming on for Lipscomb, especially as they get ready for January and February play.
Yeah, and Lipscomb going with a smaller lineup, and in this smaller lineup, he's playing the 5 spot. So while you can create some mismatches when you're in that smaller lineup on the defensive end, sometimes on the offensive end, it can help you create some other mismatches.
Adam Webb will check out of the game, or come back into the game, rather, excuse me. So he'll have a big height advantage over Coleman as Webb comes in at 7'2". We're tied at 38. Lipscomb applying a lot more full court pressure this game.
Yeah, trying to speed up Trevecca a little bit and also maybe force a turnover, but his coach Mance has been trying to slow down his team offensively a little bit. Don't want as many of the quick shots, but I'll tell you, most of them have been dropping for the Trojans.
Well, they've taken some quick threes. Most of them dropped. Hendricks didn't. But at the other end, Greg Jones, the sophomore out of Fresco, Texas, puts it in the book for the Bisons, and they're back out on top by 3.
He's got 3 of Lipscomb's 4 3-pointers.
Another 3 attempt. No, thought about it, but instead Ragsdale steps back.
Good
He's
recovery
open again on the wing, but won't shoot it.
Good recovery defense by Lipscomb. That looked like it was a 3-on-2 developing for Trevecca.
Got to travel down lows. They got it to the big kid, Adam Webb. Looked like he had got by the defense and was going to work down the baseline and maybe have a chance to slam it, but he takes an extra step and turns it over.
It's a big point in the game. I know we're still a minute and a half left at halftime, but it's been kind of a little back and forth game. If either one of these teams could get a little bit of an advantage heading into halftime, that might be something they could really build on heading into the second half.
That could have been a big bucket there, but it just rimmed out by Miles Miller. Trevecca at the other end now with Starling running the point.
And then a 2-3 zone now.
Those are on the wing.
Smaller lineup, they go zone.
They checked in Gabriel McKay. That name may be familiar to you also, as the 3 bounces around and around, and Evan Ragsdale gets it to drop.
When it's dropping for you, it's dropping for you. And on the other end, Greg Jones trying to get one to drop for him.
And there's a pass that's a little too hard inside, and Carson Gary couldn't hold on to it. And a nice drive among the trees, and the little Akron draws a foul. And to the line will go Starling.
Well, both of these teams have done a good job on missed shots, kind of forcing the action, realizing both teams struggling a little bit getting back in transition defense.
As Starling at the line connects on the free throw. He is an 87% free throw shooter. I mentioned that Gabriel McKay has come in out of Lynchburg, Virginia. He is the son of the Liberty University coach.
Coach Richie McKay, and a lot of the pack line defense principles. That's what Trevecca likes to do here. They do the same kind of play that Coach McKay does at Liberty.
He came here from Liberty Christian Academy as we get a 30-second timeout. We'll keep it right here in Allen Arena with a 2-point Trevecca lead.
How about these numbers, though? 9 for 14 are the Trojans from downtown. Coming into this game, they were averaging 10 threes a game, and they were averaging 31 three-pointers a game. So they're already on their way to their averages attempts, and they're well on their way to makes per game. I mean, the question is are they going to kind of fall back to the mean here if they're averaging 10? Is they already got 9 of their 10 here in the first half, in the second half, or are they going to just keep on trucking in the second half? That's going to be kind of the storyline to watch.
The adjustments that both these teams might make at halftime would be very important. We talked about Coach Omar Mance being an assistant at Liberty. That's when he got to know Gabriel McKay and then recruits him to come to Trevecca when he got the head job here. Buckland with a nice spin and a step through. Got around the big kid Webb, gets the 2, and we're tied for the final 30 seconds.
And shot clock, game clock, virtually the same, so Trevecca probably going to opt for the final shot. If I was a betting man, I'd say it's probably going to be a 3.
I would think so too, but before they do that, they're going to burn their 30-second timeout. Coach Mance wants to get a couple of three-point shooters checked into the game with 17.3 to play. Nice strategy move, nice timeout to call. You got to take it or lose it.
Well, really both job by both coaches. Coach Acuff called his for his offensive possession, got a good look on the little low post move by the guard Buckland, and now Mance going to try to play a little chess as well.
Well, a lot of people might have seen this game on the schedule and remembered some of the history, but they didn't go back to remember how good the battles were in part of the history. They just thought back to how things were once the two teams went different directions. I'm telling you, this has been a game here in the first half.
It really has, and it's been a clean offensive game really from both ends, both teams. And I think the one thing you pull from this is, like I said, the 9 3-pointers, can that be sustainable for Trevecca? They're averaging 10 a game. 6 turnovers apiece. Trevecca's done a fantastic job in that category because they're averaging about 19 a game. So can they take care of the ball in the second half? Because this game is going to be won or lost clearly in the second half with a tie game here.
A little trouble getting the inbounds, and then it's stolen by Buckland, and then there'll be a quick foul that's going to be called on Evan Ragsdale.
It'll be a 2-shot foul regardless, so no hurt there for Lipscomb.
Boy, Gavin, Matt Jarman, and Donald Daniels are the 3 guys working the game as officials today. Let's give them an update. The Lady Bisons played across town today at Tennessee State, and they won that game 74-64 in their battle of the ASUN against the OVC.
Yeah, they play so many OVC games, as you see Buckland there. First free throw in and out, but Casey Collier, Jalen Holcomb, 2 fantastic freshmen. Casey Collier, a team-high 18 points. Jalen Holcomb with 17 points. And you really feel good for that Lipscomb Lady Bisons team. They've played so many close games that they've been on the wrong end. They finally get on the right end of a close game, and they'll have their version of the Battle of the Boulevard coming up on Wednesday night.
Buckland will connect on the second after missing 1-point lead. Full court press against the Trojans, and Starling will try to beat it at midcourt. Down to 9 on the game clock. They'll get it in the corner for a 3. Gonna be good. Put in the book for Austin Wills. Here comes Miles Miller on the run. That shot left his hand too late, and Trevecca will take a 2-point lead to the locker room here at halftime. And a big 3. It was the man of the hour, Mr. Austin Wills. He's been putting in the book 5 of 7. Let's go now to Kaylee Schuyler. She's standing by with the head coach, Lenny Acuff.
Coach, consistent shooting from your team in the first half. What about the spark they've had tonight offensively?
Well, they've been good on offense. They've been horrific on defense. They've made 10 or 11 threes. They're shooting it good, and we knew coming in the game they could really shoot it. We got to guard them better. We scored 44. That's not our problem. Our problem's on the defensive end.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask next. What can you do more to shut them down behind the arc specifically?
We need to play harder. We're a step behind every pass. They're ready to play. They've played well. Give them credit.
All right, thanks, Coach. We'll be back after the break.
Before our producer, Brett Gilbert, was born, and back, Justin, when you were barely a toddler, there was a battle. There was a big rivalry between these two schools.
Yeah, you see Lipscomb current athletic director Philip Hutchison right there, number 44. He scored a lot of points against this Trevecca team, and The rivalry is renewed, but back in the day, this was one of the best.
We got a lot to talk about as we look back at some of those games. Lipscomb left the NAI 2001. It was the beginning of the that era in the early 2000s. We've only played once since then. It kind of is the game. And again, this is a close rivalry, just 5.3 miles apart. Murfreesboro Road over here to Belmont Boulevard and Granny White Pike, where this school is set here.
You're talking about Lipscomb, Belmont, and Trevecca, all within a 5-mile stretch, and all used to be in the same conference and played against each other, as Belmont's just 2 miles away from Lipscomb.
There's a lot of fans that will remember how Joe Bailing broke Lipscomb's heart over McQuitty Gym. I'll never forget when Tim Bell hit one just past midcourt for Trevecca and broke Lipscomb's heart. I remember after winning the national championship in '86, the next year, the team that kept Lipscomb from going back to the NAI to defend it was Trevecca. They won in the playoffs. They went on to be in the Elite Eight in the NAI. There's been some great wars between these two teams over in old McQuitty and over in the old Trojan Fieldhouse. The inside first bucket won't go, but a battle for the rebound. Trevecca stays alive with it, and the foul will be whistled against Lipscomb.
Now Reed Smith just kind of muscling his way in there as he draws the foul.
Let's go to Kaylee, get an update from what the coach had to say at halftime.
Yeah, I got to catch up with Coach Mance, and he told me, he said our offense is usually very similar to Lipscomb's, and a lot of these kids played each other in high school, so we're all very familiar and we're all very confident. He said, but defensively, we just need to trap them better, but big man down low with Sajala has given us a little bit of difficulties.
Thank you, Kaylee. We were talking about that 86-87 time era, and that one year they played 4 times. Lipscomb won the preseason tournament game, but Trevecca won the other 3 before they went to the tournament. But there's a lot of good memories. Andy Lane, one of the assistant ADs here at Lipscomb, brought me a DVD from a game that took place at 88 after that, as Fleming gets in the book after the drive, and that was a great game too. That one went into double overtime before Lipscomb got the win over in McQuitty. I tell you, it's just so many of those games, Justin, they just all run together for me, but for you younger guys, you just don't have a lot of memory of those great rivalry games.
There's a lot of battles with the namesake of this floor here, Don Meyer, as another great move by Reed Smith, and he's got the first 3 for the Trojans here in the second half.
They got a 3-point lead. They led by 2 at halftime. You wonder how the defense is going to pick up for either one of these squads here in the second half, and whether their offense will cool off at all. If one of them stays hot, they could run the other one out of the gym here. You just never know how it's going to end up between these two here. Nice step through, nice move. Parker Hazen gets the 2.
Good patience by Lipscomb. Looked like they were a little out of sync on that offensive possession, but just get bailed out by a nice turnaround move.
First 5 minutes of the second half, always important, as Sajala leaning hard on Adam Webb. And I'll tell you, Adam Webb battling hard down on the blocks. You know, he's a transfer from Stetson, so he's used playing at this level, and he's really stepping up his game down there for the Trojans.
Big thing is that's number 3 on Sajala, 3rd foul. That is huge for Trevecca to get Sajala into foul trouble.
There's a block by Sajala. He got in foul trouble and fouled out of the game at Belmont back on Tuesday night.
Kind of surprised Coach Acuff's going to leave him into the game right here with 18 to go. He's so critical to what Lipscomb likes to do offensively, not just scoring. Like I said, he leads the team in assists. And now we're going to get an illegal screen against Adam Webb.
Well, if it hadn't been an illegal screen, it was going to be a quick travel, I think, called on Ragsdale, because he took an extra step. Forgot to dribble before he took it toward the glass. But the foul will be the first one on Webb, the 7'2" junior out of Lakeland, Florida. Parker trying to move down low, trying to get Fleming out of the way, and then Sajala, he may have traveled. He did. Good call by the official, because Sajala did take an extra step and turned it over on the travel. You got to hope, if you're a Lipscomb fan, that doesn't frustrate him to turn around and make a foul at the other end.
Yeah, and really, you know, Sajala is at his best when he gets down there low on the block. I know they like to play him out high to get him moving and get the ball moving quickly, but sometimes he just needs to post up with his back to the basket, one dribble, turn around, and try to go.
Got to travel the other end against Trevecca, so back-to-back turnovers. This one on Reed Smith, the Brentwood, Tennessee native, who came out at halftime with a lot of fans cheering him on from the stands here. Hazen. And then Wow, what a save by K.J. Johnson. Saved it, pulled it down, and then put a 3 in the book.
Well, set play for Lipscomb. They had a couple of options there. Back screen to let Asajala get a mismatch, but he saw Johnson just wide open, so he made the right play, and another assist for the big fella. Great back door, and Reed Smith. He's been the man of the hour here in the second half.
Adam Webb did a great job of finding Smith, getting the back door. Now a kicking violation against Wills, and so Lipscomb will retain possession down on the baseline with 25 on the shot clock. Tied at 51. Battle between these two Nashville teams on this December Sunday afternoon. Here's Buckland, stops at the elbow, quietly puts it in the bucket.
How many of those do you think he's made in his career? Right there off the elbow. Key, though, like I said, for both of these teams, which of these teams can make the adjustment defensively? Which one is going to kind of break first on the offensive end due to the other side playing some defense? I mentioned the turnovers, and that had been an issue for Trevecca, averaging 19 plus a game. They only had 7 in the first half. Second foul on Adam Webb.
And Lipscomb got a big defensive play down there. They anticipated a pass going to the baseline, knocked it loose and stole it, and then they draw the foul down low on Adam Webb, who now has 2 personal fouls.
What I was going to say is they only had 7 at halftime. They've already got 3, though, here in the first 3.5 minutes.
Lipscomb with 2 players in double figures. Buckland with 15 and Asajala with 11 as the missed bucket by Lipscomb, and the rebound quickly out to the Trojans. Trojans with 1 player in double figures. Wills with 15. He's got most of his from outside the arc. He is 5 of 7 from three-point land. Here's Smith. Back to the wing to Wills. They're going to try to guard him a little closer. He kicks it out on the drive for a 3 that's off the mark. No good, but a big rebound there by Smith. And now Wills for 3. Well, he was hot in the first half. He keeps it up in the second half. And the Benton, Illinois guy wants you to get out of pin. Put it in the book. Put Trevecca back out on top by 1.
All of his points coming via the 3-point line.
Drive by Asajala, reverse layup. And Lipscomb regains the lead.
Well, we had 11 lead changes in the first half. No team led by more than 6 points. Looks like we may be in for the same song's second verse here in the second half.
We wondered if one of these teams would cool off. So far it hasn't happened, but now we get an illegal block across the way, and the foul will turn it over to Lipscomb as it'll be whistled on Reed Smith. Well, we played to the first media timeout, and we are still battling it tooth and nail. Lipscomb and Trevecca. Lipscomb, after down at halftime by 2, up by 1 as we go to the break. Well, there he is, the Bison mascot. He's a little excited right now because his team has come from being 2 down to 1 up, but hey, look at the shooting percentages, Justin. Already here in the second half, Lipscomb coming out 5 of 6 and 83%. The Trojans 3 of 6 and 50%. And Austin Wills 6 of 8 from outside the arc.
Yeah, I mean, what's going to give? Which team of these is going to give first on the offensive end, because neither defense is slowing the other one down right now.
Inside Asajala.
Great move. Great move by Asajala. Realized he had the mismatch down low, and Lipscomb's gambling with Asajala with those 3 fouls. He's still out there. I think they realize they have to have his offense.
It's been a fun player to watch from these freshmen, as there's a steal by K.J. Johnson. We'll give it back to Fleming, who's been quiet, but he drives and gets 2 for Lipscomb. I was going to say Asajala from last year to this year. What great improvement the way he handles the ball and works around the blocks.
Yeah, his ball handling has gotten very well. I think the one thing he'd like to improve a little bit more on is the touch around the basket. That's been his one area, sometimes a concern. Sometimes it takes him a few more shots than you'd like to get the points based on his positioning. But definitely been a lot better with the ball handling, and his passing is just fantastic.
Another 3 attempt put up by Wills. Oh, me, oh, my. Somebody, that guy, whatever he had for lunch, everybody else needs to try it. He has hit now 7 3-pointers. And now a steal by the Trojans. Can defense create offense? That could be the key.
Locate Wills, and finally Buckland does.
The drive and a 5-point turnaround is a bucket by Ragsdale. As Lipscomb had taken a 5-point lead, but now the Trojans tie it at 59.
Warning against Trevecca after that made shot, kind of kicked the ball a little bit, delay a game.
So Webb will get to check in with the dead ball for Smith. Well, Lipscomb, you thought, was getting an offense going a little bit as they had got a little 5-point turn, but then all of a sudden, a big three-pointer by Wills, and then defense creating offense.
12 made threes. Great backdoor cut, and what a look by Asajala. He's now got 7 assists.
Beautiful play there to get it in to Fleming, who now has 6 points in the game. And here's Wills again. This one off the mark.
Now, that fortunate there was Lipscomb because Wills found a wide open look there.
Asajala inside for 2. Wills has missed just 3 of those three-pointers. He's hit 7 on the afternoon. His team is 12 of 19 from outside the arc. Lipscomb just 5 of 11 from the three-point line. And we got an illegal screen there, and that's going to be the 3rd foul on Adam Webb. As Webb made the pass, made the turn, but illegally moved on.
It's hard. I mean, 7'2", Adam Webb cannot hide anywhere on the court, and so he has got to be picture perfect on his screens and that ball handoff there. You know, the interesting thing, Asajala had picked up his 3rd foul. Adam Webb didn't have any fouls. Since that time, Adam Webb has now picked up 3 fouls.
Jalen Tharp into the lineup for the Trojans. Buckland gives it back to Asajala. A little one-handed jam. Bring them to their feet in Allen Arena. Lipscomb now with a 6-point lead out on top 65-59. That'll force a Trevecca timeout. We'll stretch it to a full media from the Music City. 13-11 to play. Lipscomb now on a little bit of a run with a 6-point lead over Crosstown Pro Trevecca. Lipscomb with a 6-0 run over the last minute and hitting 6 of 6 field goals. But it's this guy right here who's kept Trevecca in this game. It's Austin Wills, 7 of 10 from 3-point. He's got 21 points to lead all scorers here this afternoon. And I'm telling you, when he catches it, it looks just like it's going to be automatic points in the book. He loves to put it in the book.
Yeah, I mean, he has been fantastic. I think Coach Omar Manses definitely want to draw things up for Wills as many times as possible here in the second half.
Drive and a spin inside. A little left-handed shot is short, and Asajala is there to get the rebound on the miss by Reed Smith. And Buckland going to be hand-checked and fouled. It'll be on Jalen Tharp, the Clarksville, Tennessee native. He played at Clarksville Northeast. The junior averaging nearly 6 points a ball game.
Largest lead ties it at 6 for Lipscomb. They led by 6 at 9:48 in the first half. That's been the largest lead for either team, 6 points. So a chance for Lipscomb to extend that potentially.
Already 5 personal fouls charged to the Trojans. And there's a nice backdoor play inside with it. Fleming has it blocked away and then lost out of bounds by Tharp of the Trojans. Fleming thought he had been fouled in there, but the shot was just blocked away and then rolled off the Trojans out of bounds. Coming back in will be Evan Ragsdale, the Nashville, Tennessee native, for the Trojans. Buckland to play it in. They'll get a fresh 30, and then we got a little collision out top as KJ Johnson, trying to get open, is going to be held and fouled by Chris Rogers.
The problem there for Trevecca is that's the 6th team foul, so 12:36 to go. Every foul from here on out. Lipscomb's going to be at the free throw line. Lipscomb as a team shooting about 66%. They were 8 for 10 in the first half.
So now they'll move Buckland up to the side here to make the inbounds instead of under the basket. And they got a fresh 30. Johnson off to Buckland. Now KJ way outside is going to drive, tuck it, and off the glass and good. That's a great move for him if he makes them. He missed about 4 or 5 against Belmont the other night, but that's the play they got to get out of KJ Johnson.
Keep going with that play, because that's what he's got to do. That's what he's there for. He can beat you off the dribble. He's got such a quick first step, and that's why he is so dangerous offensively. Now largest lead of the game for Lipscomb.
It's an 8-0 run over the last minute 45 for the Bisons, and it gives them their largest lead of 8. Tick inside, 12 minutes to play in this second half. And the Trojans will break the run as they get it inside, and the bucket by Smith.
Well, he's been the man here in the second half.
There's Here's a guy that's been shooting the three for the Bisons well today, and the sophomore from Texas, Greg Jones, puts his fourth three-pointer in the book for Lipscomb. And it's a 9-point lead.
Lipscomb not known for their three-point shooting here this year. That's been something that's been a calling card for them in years past, but they've really struggled this year, and they just need enough to hang with Trevecca the way they've been shooting on the outside.
Touchdown low to Webb. He'll kick it out on the wing. Ragsdale on the drive. Shot clock winding down. Only 1 second on the shot clock as the ball goes out of bounds.
Hard to tell. It looked like it might have been gone off Trevecca.
We'll get a timeout with 11:13 left to go. Our under 12 media break. Couple of changes made by both teams. We'll get the set of that when we come back. Right now, it's Lipscomb with a 9-point lead over crosstown foe Trevecca. Let's take a look at this replay as we come back. A nice feed over to Greg Jones, and he puts up the three-pointer. And Greg now 4 of 6 from outside the arc for Lipscomb. But on the other side, man, what a hot hand for the Trojans. You've got Austin Wills, the Benton, Illinois player for the Trojans, and he is 7 of 10 from outside the three. And he's had, what, a career record from outside the three.
Yeah, ties a career record for him in three-point makes. He had it last year against Tiffin. 7 threes made as foul called against Trevecca on the block. Just another great quick move by K.J. Johnson.
KJ trying to put the team on his shoulder a little bit here in this second half, and took the rough end of that one there. You can see a nice collision, the blocking foul, that he doesn't have much on his hip there as he collided with him, but he'll go to the free throw line to shoot now. He is an 82% free throw shooter. And already in this game, up to 9 points. He's averaging just under 15 a game.
The record for a player for Trevecca for threes made in a game is 9. Jacob Williams and also a current player, Evan Ragsdale, had 9 as well. So he's flirting in that territory too.
Well, they have really developed into a great three-point shooting team. Lipscomb on a 12-2 run over the last 3:05, and they add to that with these free throws. Lipscomb also has hit 8 of their last 9 field goals. And offensively, they've been able to turn it up, but a lot of times that's been created by some of their defensive play. Defense creates offense. We'll see what Lipscomb can do now with an 11-point lead.
Well, definitely, because Lipscomb's already forced 6 turnovers here in the second half.
There's another missed shot, the rebound by Parker Hazen. Off to Johnson, nice fake, nice drive. K.J. Johnson, he didn't score much in the first half, but he has come to play here in the second half.
He's got 9 of his 13 have come here in the second half, and that's why he is so electric. Dynamic player for Lipscomb. You won't keep him down for long.
He is so important. Speaking of important, wow, there's a nice block by Jacob Hobbs.
Yeah, out of nowhere, Hobbs kind of flies in to make that one.
Here's a three by K.J. Johnson. And K.J. Johnson offensively has taken control for the Bisons. It's forced another Trevecca timeout.
18-2 run for Lipscomb over the last 3:58. And this game went from a back-and-forth game to Lipscomb now has a 16-point lead. What a run by the Bisons catalyst, K.J. Johnson.
Well, we wondered what would happen here in the second half. Would the two teams battle back and forth just like they did? And for the first 4 minutes of this half, they did that. Then all of a sudden, Lipscomb just went on a tear, went on a run. They've hit their last 4 field goals, developing this long run.
But it's the defense. Lipscomb's defense has picked up. We had Kaylee. She talked to Coach Acuff, and he said, you know, offensively we're doing some things, but defensively we're just not performing the way we have in the past. We got to pick that up in the second half. And you combine Lipscomb's offense and they put some defense together. This is a tough team to match up against.
I wrote it down. He said we got to guard better. We got to play harder. And I think that halftime talk was, let's play harder.
Well, and the other thing too they're doing on the defensive end, it's not necessarily that they're just stopping Trevecca in their tracks, but they're only giving them 1 shot on goal mostly. There's another turnover. That's number 14. So Trevecca had 7 in 20 minutes of action in the first half. They've had 7 in less than 10 minutes here in the second half.
Lipscomb has 14 points off those 14 turnovers. Trevecca just 7 points off of the 8 Lipscomb turnovers. And all of a sudden, a 2-point deficit at halftime. Lipscomb now leads it by 16. Wipe away that 3-pointer because we got an illegal screen, I believe, called on Greg Jones. That was a long NBA 3 for K.J. Johnson, but the foul will wipe that one away.
We've seen, I want to say, about 4 or 5 illegal screen calls between the two teams here this afternoon.
Trevecca now trying to settle down. It's the ball to Webb. Trevecca needs a bucket right now, but instead the ball going to be deflected away, knocked out of bounds by Hobbs, so the Trojans will retain possession. I mean, they haven't scored in nearly 2 minutes. And then some long runs here by Lipscomb. Rogers pulls it up for 3. But when they do score and when they do break it, they do it with a long ball. Put in the book for Chris Rogers.
Great way to break the run, and 13-point lead. That's nothing with the way Trevecca's been shooting the 3 here this afternoon.
Sajala down on the baseline, comes across one to pass it to Hobbs, but it's a bad pass, stolen away by the Trojans. Can they put their own little run together? Rogers to a high screen. Off the dribble, driving. Decides not to shoot it, but bring it back out for a 3 in the air. Could they get back-to-back threes? No, but it's knocked out long to Johnson. He'll go up for the layup. It's good. He draws the foul. He's got a chance for a conventional 3-point play.
Well, Johnson did a great job contesting that 3. He might have even got a fingertip on it, but his momentum carried him into the backcourt, and then Adam Webb kind of flipped it back. Usually that's a good move on the offensive end. You're taught to kind of flip it back out because you usually got guards, but he just happened to flip it too far right into the hands of K.J. Johnson.
If you're Trevecca, you're sitting there with a chance for a rimmed out 3 to give you 6 straight points. Instead, they tip it out, and Lipscomb gets a 3 on the other end, the conventional way, with the layup and the free throw made by Johnson, who's above his average of nearly 15. He's got 19 points in this game now.
15 here in the second half.
Yeah, he's got his average just here in the second half. I'm sure he took to heart what was said in the locker room at halftime. Out to a 16-point lead again. Long 3 won't go, and Johnson has the rebound, and here comes Lipscomb on the run. Johnson coast to coast, feeds it off. Beautiful pass over to Jacob Hobbs, and a 2-hand slammeroo.
Great job, great pass, and Lipscomb in transition. Offense is clicking right now for Lipscomb. Trevecca, this possession, I think they need to really work their offense. Take a little bit of time here.
Now we got a double dribble out top. It's going to be whistled, a turnover against Austin Wills. But what you got to like about Johnson, he had the presence of the mind not just to drive and shoot it. He stopped and passed it.
Yeah, and what you got to like, too, right now, Lipscomb with 16 assists on 31 made buckets. They're assisting on 50% of their made buckets. That's a good sign.
Doing it with a lot of different players in their lineup. As they come around to Jones, he's had a hot hand from 3-point. He gets yet another one. And Jones gets his 5th 3-pointer from outside in this ballgame. One of the best 3-point shooting performances by any Bison this year. And again, another 8-0 run over the last minute for Lipscomb as Jones hits another 3.
Well, Sana Sajala averages a double-double per game. That's usually points and rebounds. He's got 19 points and 8 assists. He's flirting with a double-double here again today.
7:47 to go here in this half, and Lipscomb has opened it wide open. They're out on top of Trevecca, 85-64. Back with more after this timeout. Let's leave with Greg Jones putting it in the book. So many interesting things when you look at the stats. Greg Jones now 5 of 7 from 3-point. That's the best career for him, hitting that. And a career high, 15. His best high was against Rhodes earlier. And then you look at shooting, Justin. I don't know that I've seen this. Lipscomb is at 17 of 19 here in the second half. They've only missed 2 shots in the second half.
And they're 4 of 4 from downtown. I mean, Lipscomb 8 threes in this game. Lipscomb shooting almost 90%. That's unheard of. And the difference, though, is these are not all deep shots. Lipscomb's getting a lot of close looks. Lipscomb, you look at the paint numbers, that's what really tells you the story of this game. Lipscomb has outscored Trevecca in the paint 46-16. They're getting just so many easy looks here in the second half because of the way their offense is moving and the way they've created offense from their defense. They're getting some turnovers and easy buckets.
Miles Miller back in the lineup, almost had another big defensive play over there. Let's go to Kaylee Schuyler. She's got an update here on the sideline. Kaylee?
Coach Mans was telling his guys during that media timeout, he said, two guys not playing defensively and being lazy, two guys being lazy here and there is hurting the whole team. He said, we have to quit complaining about calls and start playing. He said, this is a trend we've had all season and even yesterday. This is what hurt us in our loss yesterday. And he said, we have got to stop complaining, and we have got to start finishing.
Well, you know, it's got to be frustrating for him as a coach to see how well they played in the first half and had the lead, and then to see how things have changed in the second half. Part of it's because of that guy right there, K.J. Johnson, now with 21 points. He just woke up here in the second half.
Oh, he did. He's, just been unbelievable and so quick. And like I said, it's not just his ability to score; it's how many he can score in a hurry.
Ball knocked away down low, battling for it, and Asajala comes out with it. Here's KJ, another three. This one won't go, and Hobbs tried to slam it home. He couldn't, but just leave a little garbage on the table or around the house. You know who's going to clean it up. Asajala gets it for Lipscomb. They're now out on top, 89-64. What a turnaround here in the second half as it rolls off the leg of Chris Rogers out of bounds. And he's going to be lifted up by a couple of his teammates.
Almost going to make some wholesale changes. Lipscomb going to bring in 4 new.
It's kind of like somebody was taking a Sunday afternoon nap in the first half, and the halftime talk woke them up.
I mean, just unbelievable what is transpired here in the second half. Lipscomb offensively we saw the 3-point explosion by the Trojans in the first half, and second half, Lipscomb just all around offensively.
John Merritt in the lineup now, gets it over on the side for the Columbia native who missed on that one, but the battle for the rebound, and it comes out to Trevecca as Garson Carey missed on that long three, the freshman. He had a great game, on the road at Navy, and then backed it up at Tennessee Tech.
It's really where he came onto the scene. Lipscomb was just desperate for somebody to
hit
some
players.
Outside shot. Yeah, they were down 3 guys. Like I said, Jake Wolf, who's not playing today, but they were down Greg Jones and Buckland, so they needed players, but he gave him a boost offensively, too.
There's a missed 3 put up there by Smith, but a rebound to the Trojans. They put a 3 up. Looks like it was good. Left before the clock sounded, and Gabriel McKay will get the 3-pointer. You can put it in the book for him. 89-67. Can John Merritt match it? No, this one off the rim out of bounds, and it'll go over to the Trojans. Trojans now with another substitution. C.J. Herbert, the Mount Juliet, Tennessee native, played at Nashville Central Christian, that is, will check into the lineup. See all reserves on the floor now for Lipscomb, too, I think.
Yeah, when Lipscomb got up 25, I saw Coach Acuff go down the bench, and Coach Roger Easterman said, hey, let's bring in some of the reserves here. I think Lipscomb wanting to make sure. I mean, this is 4 games until conference play, so you've got to be careful here. I mean, you're winning a game handily. I think Lipscomb is starting to understand the situation with 3 more games in the non-conference, being judicious with some of your minutes. Because one of the things I was going to say coming in is, you look at this Trevecca team, they had no player who averaged 25 or more minutes. Lipscomb had 4 players who averaged 26 or more minutes. So I think Coach Acuff understanding that, and when he can get some guys to get a little rest whenever he can, I think that's what he's doing.
Well, I think the other thing is Coleman missed on the 3. They've got to protect some players. They've had injuries, had Jones and Buckland and Wolf out for all those games. Now Jones is back and Buckland's back. Wolf is back. They're just resting him some more. But then you take the Trojans. They played Thursday and Saturday. They played yesterday afternoon. They got to be a little tired today. It's kind of like a tournament, back-to-back tournament games.
The other thing, too, is we talk about reserves. These are reserves that are going to have to play for Lipscomb. I mean, these are guys that are playing. They are playing and are going to have to play. So this is, even though it may look like Lipscomb just calling off the dogs a little bit, these are guys that need the reps.
I think this is important. I think this is good minutes for what Lipscomb's trying to do, as Miles Miller will get the rebound. But it was the defense that was put on out there by Jackson Strait that forced that bad shot by the Trojans. Ball knocked away out of bounds. Good defensive play by Starling, the Nashville native who played at Innsworth. Well, we've talked about all these different games in the past between these teams, and I tell you, it would be great if this rivalry could be brought back and this game could be played more often in a November-December setup when you play a Division II, a Division I team.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, you equate it kind of when the Power Fives bring in Lipscomb to play the money game where they bring them in. I mean, this is the type of game that a mid-major like Lipscomb needs to bring in, and why not have it be at a crosstown rival as Caleb Coleman gets into the scoring with a three-pointer there.
Put in the book for the freshman out of Orlando, Florida. And who would have thought at halftime when Lipscomb was down by 2 that with 3:46 to go in this game as we head to our final media timeout, Lipscomb could have opened up this lead. They're out on top now 92-67. Lipscomb leading it over Trevecca. Lipscomb been on the road for 17 days. They get to come home, play this afternoon. They'll play at home on the 17th against Tennessee Tech, and then it's pack your bags again. Get ahead to Vermont and Auburn to wrap up the season here in 2019. But then they open the conference ASUN schedule on the road at Stetson and Florida Gulf Coast coming up the first weekend in January.
Of course, they got finals. That's why there's a little bit of a gap between this game and the next game for Lipscomb. This is kind of the tricky time of year for college athletes with their finals. But that should be a good game against Tennessee Tech at home. Lipscomb went on the road to Cookeville and got a nice road win, 78-65. But that was a pretty good game between the Golden Eagles and the Bisons.
When you look back to that part of the season, you wondered how Lipscomb was going to do. They lost to Belmont at home as the ball is knocked out away and
coming right at us.
Came right at us, made a play on that one. My hands are still there. I don't know that I could do anything else but catch it, you know. But I was going to say, they lost that game to Belmont, and you wondered how they were going to come back mentally. They go to Navy and win. They go to Tech and win, down players, and get 2 big wins.
And then they lost, I think it was by 5 to Belmont the other night on the road at the Curb event in a game where Lipscomb still had a chance in that one, too.
It's a game if they'd have come out playing the way they did here to start the second half.
I mean, you play this way in the second half, you're going to beat a lot of teams.
Could have been a lot different what they did.
We'll get a chance to see if Lipscomb can kind of keep this momentum going here the rest of the game here with these reserves, which I think you mentioned maybe one of the most important parts of the game. Travel by Coleman.
Good playing time for both teams, and for Lipscomb, there's a travel against Coleman, trying to work out some of the things they need to work on. You know, Trevecca, they come in here with a record just 1-8. They won their first game. It was their first conference game that they won on Thursday as they beat Tiffin, and then they lost yesterday, losing to Old Dominican. Lost 70-45. Both of those games being played here in Nashville. There's a nice turnaround inside by Malcolm Walker out of Thompson Station, Tennessee. A lot of local Middle Tennessee kids playing on this Trevecca team. He goes up and does a nice little jump hook and gets the 2. But I was saying that conference they are in, so interesting as the ball battled around, and it's like a pinball. Trevecca comes out with it, and down court off the glass and good will be Michael Miller out of Waverly, Ohio.
Things getting a little sloppy here. You look at some of the teams they played. Point Loma was the runner-up in Division II last year in the national tournament. Nova Southeastern, number 2 team right now in the country in Division II. And then UAH, Coach Lenny Acuff's team's the number 8 team in Division II right now. They played all 3 of those in their pre-conference slate.
John Matt Merritt scores for Lipscomb. And now we get, I think, a timeout called by Trevecca, trying to get a couple of players in, so he burns a timeout with 1:57 to play. I was going to say, they remember the Great Midwest Athletic Conference. It's a Division II conference in the NCAA. 13 private nonprofit members from Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, Tennessee, and West Virginia make up that league. Back in the old NAI days, we were part of the Tennessee Collegiate Athletic Conference, the old VSAC part of that, and then the Trans-South Athletic Conference. So they've been around a lot of conferences with a lot of schools, but many of these that are in this Division II league that spreads across several states, as we get a foul whistled against Lipscomb, are some schools that everybody knew about. It's just now that they're spread out and have to play across states, kind of like Lipscomb does in the ASUN. You know, you're not always just right there in that state. In the old Trans-South, we pretty well had everybody from just right here in Tennessee.
Oh, when you had Belmont, Lipscomb, and Trevecca, I mean, there's 3 teams right there.
Christian Brothers, Bethel, Martin Methodist, and then you could go east, pick up Cumberland, a lot of schools. So times have changed. As you see Coach Lenny Acuff there, he's a lot happier with this second half than he was with that first half.
And you'll look at the offensive numbers, and especially K.J. Johnson here in the second half, but I really thought it was the intensity that Lipscomb picked up on the defensive end, and I think that is what Coach Acuff probably be the happiest about.
I think the defense is what creates it, as they missed another shot down low that time.
Trying to go with a little alley-oop action. Hobbs has got some hops, but I think it had to have been Inspector Gadget to get that one.
Travel turnover. That's going to be the, I guess, the 17th, 18th now turnover against the Trojans. Lipscomb's committed 12, Trevecca 18.
The law of averages kind of came back to bite Trevecca a little bit. They were averaging about 10 threes a game, and we had 10 in the first half. You think something's got to give, and they're averaging about 19 turnovers a game. They only had 7 in the first half, so this second half, not as many threes, and they've had more turnovers here in the second half.
Ready to go inside, a minute to play on this Sunday afternoon matinee. Well, we had a great close first half, and then if you're a Lipscomb fan, a great second half to go with it. Trevecca might have in some ways just ran out of a little gas too, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't mentioned it much, but you said they played yesterday. I mean, that's, you play some of those tournaments where you go back-to-back days, but that's hard to do, especially Division II against Division I. There's a football play on a football NFL Sunday right there. Jacob Hobbs going student body right there.
I'm not laughing. I'm going to say that was a collision right there between those two. Well, we don't want to let this go by without talking about the play of Austin Wills today from Benton, Illinois. Wow, what a play. We'll watch this replay here. Look, boom. I mean, that was like a fullback taking it down the middle.
I think Hobbs was a football player in high school.
Missed on the free throw, the rebound to Coleman. I'll tell you about Wills again. His shooting efforts today is another 3 up. It won't go for the Bisons, and the save back is taken away by the Trojans. And going down McKay, his shot won't go, but he'll be fouled from behind. But Austin Wills has been the big gun today. 21 points, 7 of 11, including 7 of 10 three-pointers today for the Trojans.
Yeah, and we mentioned that ties a career high for him. He was 2 away from setting the Trevecca record. Teammate Evan Ragsdale is one of the guys who holds that record.
Johnson, KJ Johnson, 21 points for Lipscomb, 15 points for Greg Jones, 5 of 7. That's a new career mark for him for three-pointers. 15 for Buckland today. His second game back, had 10 against Belmont, and 21 for Asajla today, and just missed getting the double-double. Had 8 assists in this ball game here today as we play through the final 25 seconds after the missed free throw by Trevecca. I'm sure Lipscomb is just going to dribble it out with their 96-72 lead as Carson Carey out of Columbia, the freshman. He'll shake hands there with Molenhauer, Elijah Molenhauer, as they kind of talk a little bit as the final seconds tick away here. And after Trevecca had a 2-point lead at halftime, Lipscomb comes out and takes control of this one here in the second half as we have the renew of an old rivalry. Nashville foes come together and play on this Sunday afternoon as Trevecca makes its way over from Murfreesboro Road to Granny White Pike to take on Lipscomb here on the Don Meyer Court in Allen Arena. And a nice battle here. Good to see these two teams playing again.
Just fantastic. But talk about the offense in the second half for Lipscomb. 22 of 32. Lipscomb shoots 68% in the second half, 50% from downtown. And Lipscomb in the second half scores 52 points and gets a 24-point victory.
What a turn. One half one way, second half another way, and it's a big win for Lipscomb. They'll go now to 4-6 on the year. Trevecca will drop to 1-9 on the year. So for Justin Seaman and Kaylee Sky, I'm Jonathan Seaman saying so long, everybody, from the Music City, from Nashville, Tennessee, where on this December Sunday afternoon, your final score, Lipscomb wins over crosstown foe Trevecca 96-72. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.